What if Naruto was a Tailed Beast Part 2? Let's go. They would now be having their power assessed. The Chunin teachers did this in a way where each of the Genin students, or rather aspiring to become Genin students, academy students, would spar against each other and fight. Not to harm each other, not to death, just a sparring match for the proctors, which in this case are the teachers, just for them to see how strong the students are. They would try to make somewhat even matches so it's not too unfair. The thing was that the list of names was alphabetically, so Naruto was pretty much in the exact middle with his first name starting with N. As he doesn't really have a last name, he just goes by Naruto. The one on the list after Naruto is Mitsumori, and since they are said to have somewhat equal power, they were actually put against each other. So their match began, and everyone was excited to see the son of the Hokage and a very powerful outsider, not from this place, fight against each other. The match started, but Naruto didn't move at all. He started smirking, and let his hair flow through the wind. This exposed Naruto's somewhat animal features, which was a little bit surprising for most people. Of course, Mitsumori was aware of them, but as previously mentioned, they weren't really ever talked about and they weren't a big thing. However, Mitsumori then engaged in the fight as he ran towards Naruto with a kunai in his hand. Naruto easily blocked the kunai with a single hand, and then tried to punch Mitsumori in the stomach, though he tanked the shot and continued to try to hit Naruto. Naruto had the clear advantage in this fight, and had a fighting instinct that was handed down from his family. Also, his taijutsu and chakra capabilities, as in potential, are out of this world. Quite literally. So, with a little bit of hassle, Naruto did win this fight pretty easily though, as he just continued to, every few punches, hit Mitsumori once, and then, after a minute of fighting, Mitsumori went down. Not knocked out, but she gave up as this fight seemed hopeless. Everyone was really in awe. Mitsumori wasn't that much of a weak fighter. He was actually pretty strong. Now, of course, he hadn't done anything crazy like done a year's worth of training with a Hokage, but he's not too weak. He's definitely in the top 3 strongest in the entire class. So if Naruto could beat him that easily, they didn't even comprehend what he could do with more training in the future. Now, of course, he hadn't done anything crazy like done a year's worth of training with a Hokage, but he's not too weak. He's definitely in the top 3 strongest in the entire class. So if Naruto could beat him that easily, they didn't even comprehend what he could do with more training in the future. Now with Sasuke, who is fighting with Kiba, who kept bragging that he's the class strongest and actually will become the strongest in the village and even become Hokage, though after a few blows, it was pretty obvious that that was just full of crap, and Kiba was definitely not the strongest in the class, and nowhere near that. Probably closer to the weakest in the class. But anyways, a little more fights and that would conclude the assessment of their strength. The teachers were very happy as they did see some promising candidates for the year and the years to come. Now, over this time, there would be a trio dynamic between Sasuke, Mitsumori, and Naruto, building up as the 3 of them became the powerhouses of the class, as well as the most popular with the girls and even with the boys. Naruto's proficiency was mostly chakra, though his taijutsu was also not bad. Meanwhile, Sasuke was pretty good in doing genjutsu, as that's his clan's mastery, especially when he unlocked the Sharingan later on. Though, not for now. Meanwhile, Mitsumori started learning a few tricks here and there from Kushina and Minato himself, the 4th Hokage, which greatly increased his quest for strength and speed. Of course, his taijutsu wasn't as good as his father's, as chakra mastery or seal mastery not as good as his mother's for now, but he did have a lot of chakra potential. as he is half Uzumaki and has quite a bit of the Nine Tails chakra. So, if he was willing to take time and control it and master it, he would be a very fearsome shinobi. So, a few months pass, and at this point, they're now 9 years old and have had about half a year of life in the academy, or rather, as an academy student. It seems like it's never been better than the time now, especially for Naruto, who's enjoyed making a lot of friends and becoming more powerful, as his goal is to become such a powerful shinobi that he can visit all of his family, all the tailed beasts, and perhaps try to free them from the discrimination of humans, if he ever gets to that point. But for now, his main mission is to see his mother again, who he had learned from Kurama seemed to be trapped in the land of water. Now at this point, Naruto had more motivation than ever to become stronger, trained his taijutsu in the form of workout and daily jogs more than ever, and kept comparing himself and trying to be better than his friends. Of course, even more Sasuke and Mitsumori, as those three had a constant motivation to beat each other in anything they were doing and be better than the rest, as there was basically a three-way rivalry between them. However, it definitely benefited as they all became smarter and stronger through it. Now, during this time, Naruto had actually built up some feelings towards a girl. Now, he thought that there were many pretty girls in his class, though there was one in particular, and this was none other than Sasuke's sister, Shiru. She had black hair as normal in the Uchiha clan, and wore clothes that could be compared to a mixture between Ino and, believe it or not, Shisui, as well as a little bit of Itachi. Her dream was to have a short sword by her side, but instead of like Shisui having it on the back, she wanted to have it on her waist that she could grab it at any point in time without having to turn that much. She had ninja tape around her arms up to the bottom of her thumbs. However, Naruto could not bring himself to confess his feelings, as he saw her almost every day, sometimes even outside the academy. For example, whenever he went over to Sasuke's to play or really do anything. Of course, Mitsumori was also there, but that doesn't really matter. So for now, a few more years passed, as they were now about to finish their academy life and become an actual Genin. After 4 years of hard work and training, they'd gotten to a very high level of skill in everything they attempted. So now all they had to do to prove that they were ready to become actual Genin is to pass very easy exams. They started out by shuriken throwing, which was really easy, as all of them had at least a score of 300, a bullseye being worth 100 points, but they had 5 kunai to throw. So getting a score of 300 is really good, especially for such young kids, as that's even a score that wouldn't be too shabby for some Chunin to get. Then they needed to make one clone jutsu, as it didn't merely matter what clone jutsu, as Naruto did a blue flame style clone jutsu, which was a little bit of a Kekkei Genkai that his mother, Naruto's mother, had taught him. And it does kind of run in the family, though it was taught to him at a young age, kind of like a trick, just for fun. But now he could actually use it in pride of his mother. So he proudly passed with that clone, and then there would be a third exam. Now, of course they had done the written test, which none of them liked, but they had to do. But now there was something else. They would have to fight a special guest that would come into the academy. This guest is none other than Itachi Uchiha, Sasuke and Shiru's older brother. Now, once again, this would be done alphabetically, and they would have to fight Itachi for only about 30 seconds, as this wasn't really any endurance test or really that much fighting either. They were just supposed to be able to keep up. But of course, Itachi was not going to fight seriously or anywhere near that, as he would probably destroy even the Chunin teachers at the academy. Itachi, of course, being a very strong prodigy. So, then it was Naruto's turn, who came in first out of the three student trio. Naruto would smilingly say that he would not hold back, as Itachi and him made some distance between them after shaking hands and bowing, and then their fight commenced. Of course, Naruto already kind of knew Sasuke, his older brother Itachi, so they already had kind of some knowledge about each other, especially Itachi, who knew Naruto pretty well. Sometimes Naruto was a pretty popular theme to talk about, as he was a mysterious outsider, but he was mostly welcomed inside the village, so it was fine. Anyways, their fight started, and as soon as it was declared to begin, Naruto jumped in and struck Itachi in the nose, trying to get a dirty hit on him first, and then immediately went for a punch on the stomach, though Itachi jumped to the side and tried to elbow Naruto in the face. Naruto did a flip above Itachi, so now their backs were facing each other. Itachi used a simple clone jutsu to try to confuse Naruto, though he easily looked through it. Naruto was using a special technique that he had developed for his own fighting style, which was basically using his chakra to encase his physical body in chakra and make it stronger and faster. This was kind of like a chakra cloak, but of course a much weaker version than we know of from the tailed beast chakra cloak. But he would have the power to do so in the future. For now, it was a weaker version of the chakra cloak. However, for now, this was all he had, but it was sufficient. His power increased more than threefold as his speed did too, and now his fight with Itachi was unlike anything the previous wannabe Genins had ever seen before, especially anything that they'd ever been able to accomplish themselves. Naruto jumped up and down to be able to fight face to face with Itachi, and he did it so fast that for some time it felt like and looked like Naruto was floating and flying across the battlefield as they jumped around a lot during their fight. Now their fight was already exceeding 30 seconds, so Itachi knew that Naruto would already pass, and at this point Itachi used some more force to see how far Naruto would be willing to go. Now Naruto would be getting pushed to the back, as with every punch Itachi landed on him, there would be a small scrape on Naruto's body, which was slowly wearing him out. But before anything else happened, the proctors of the match ended it, saying that Naruto passed the exam and did very, very well. Of course, Itachi wasn't gonna hurt Naruto, but he was curious. So they'd probably have to finish their fight some other time. Now, all the tests were done, and when everybody finished their last test, they all got their official village-issued ninja headbands to symbolize and prove that they were at least on the level of a Genin and would likely upgrade their rank very, very soon. The trio of academy students, especially, were yelling and were super excited and happy to finally become Genin, and were even hoping to get on the same team, though they knew that it'd be pretty unlikely, as there's usually, basically always, at least one girl on a Genin team, and then two boys. However, they were also excited to see who their sensei would be, as of course they were hoping for Itachi, as they knew him and he was really nice and a good teacher, but they knew it wasn't going to happen, as Itachi was not the kind of guy that would be a teacher, and, well, he wasn't volunteering to be a teacher anyways. By the way, I should mention this, there is an important thing that happened, or rather did not happen, and that was of course the sad and lonely night of the Uchiha massacre. Now the reason this didn't happen is of course once again because Minato Namikaze is alive, as well as of course Kushina. This led to less of an issue between Konoha, well the village, and the villagers, and the Uchiha clan, as well as Minato being cool-headed and friends with a lot of the Uchiha, being able to solve the issue or resolve it, at least over the course of a few years. So a lot of the Uchiha were actually welcomed back, though some of them stayed back behind in the Uchiha compound in the old one that was at the edge of the village. Not because they felt threatened or hated, though of course some old ones did, But for example, Sasuke's family, which were the clan leaders, or rather, Fugaku's father was the clan leader, he wanted to stay in the Uchiha compound as a symbol for any Uchiha who was quote unquote lost, for them to find a home in the Uchiha compound. But most important thing, the Uchiha massacre did not happen. Anyways, now Naruto and the rest of his class were sitting in the classroom on the next day, awaiting for instructions, and to finally meet their Jonin sensei, as well as get to know who their Genin team would be. Naruto was one of the ones waiting the longest, as some other Genin already left, and then some more, and then some more. But that's gonna be it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. We're so close to 10K. Hope we reach it soon. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.